Glory to Jesus Christ. Dear parishioners, every Sunday, right after the liturgy, and then we would have a little coffee hour in the hall behind the church, and then I would stop by at the church to see, how Diane and other people, Richard and other people were still counting money and cleaning the church and getting ready for next Sunday. And then I would go to the rectory to fix some lunch. And sometimes I would look outside of the window from the living room there, and there was nobody anymore. The cars, so everybody left. And I felt a little sad, because then, I would spend the rest of the day just, staying at home or going someplace. But still, every Sunday in Ukraine or here or in other places where I was sent as a priest, the Sunday afternoon was always a little bit sad experience for me, because in the morning you have, this community service gathering. We are gathered here in the presence of the Lord, and we pray to Him, and we participate at the divine liturgy that is being celebrated in heaven. It is emotionally, very nice, and it's a great experience. And then usually the next part of the day, it's, much less so. And this is something that I'm going to be feeling today and tomorrow when I leave from this parish as well. But this is something that keeps happening to us all the time. Our lives are like that. We participate in great things, and then, the next thing comes and we participate in something that is more simple, or sometimes something that is actually terrible. Our life is change, is movement, is, once we are healthy, once we are not. Once we are happy, and then we are not. It is a continuous change. And this change can be represented in these waves, ups and downs, of course. But there is still something that is constant, that is never changing, something that we can always count on in our lives, in our experiences, in our emotions, something that is very solid, something that we can be 100% sure without even 0.25% doubt. It is God's love. We talk a lot about it in Christianity, and only in the Catholic Christianity, in any kind of Christianity, and in most of religions, love is the foundation. Love is represented as the cornerstone of God's law. And rightly it is so. Christ, when He wishes to really explain the whole, everything of divine revelation, He uses just 2 sentences. And both of them are about love. Love for God and love for people. And these are, of course, the 2 main and greatest commandments that Christ leaves us with. What is love? And there are different explanations. There are different ways of thinking of it. Some are very human. Some are more or less human. Some are just completely spiritual and divine in their natures. Well, but something that is really distinctive to the feeling and to the emotion and to love as such, which is hard to identify just like as a feeling. It isn't a feeling. It's an emotion. It is not an emotion only. It is something very complex, but something that we can really describe above love. And I guess that most of you have been or are in love with someone. When we love, first of all, love is not just a feeling that, it requires a subject. It requires somebody or something. It requires a subject. It is emotion, feeling, all this, but it is directed towards something or someone. This is the first thing about love. And the second very important thing about love is that a man or a woman or God, when he or she is in love with someone, we see, we identify something in the subject of our love that nobody else sees and knows about this person, for instance. This is why two people can be in love, and it's something that is just between them. It's just between them that this feeling can grow, and that this feeling can be blessed by God. These two people, just the two of them, they know something about each other that nobody else notices, that nobody else knows. And just this thing makes this particular person special. And this is why in most cases we cannot explain what love is, or why do we love this or that person. Because this thing that we notice about this particular person, it's most of the times we don't even know what it is. But if we look on the person we love, and then we look at someone else, there is a difference. And the difference is not, we don't make that difference. That difference is made by the person we love. They are special. There is something about them that is special only to us, but there is something that is very special. This is the substance of love. If you think about this, in human understanding, we love different people and things differently. So this is why, and what Christ is talking about, he's trying to explain a very deep and very serious and very important matter to these Pharisees and scribes. Something that you should probably go to a whole several years of study of psychology, of physiology, of sexuality, of culture to really understand. And Christ tries to explain this, just in 2 or 3 sentences. He's trying to explain in a human way, what love is and its practical application, like in marriage or in a relationship between a man and a woman. But then we can take a step forward or above, and we can really concentrate on what God's love is. It is for humans that we can identify different levels of good and evil. And this is why we like someone and we don't like somebody else. This is why we love one person and we don't have any feelings towards another. Because to us, these people, things are different. God's love and God's feelings towards us are not like that. Just like any lover, anyone who loves, he knows something special about us. Something that we do not know about ourselves even. But when he looks at humanity, when he looks at every single human being separately, he knows something about that human being that makes him love each and every one of us in a special, particular, concrete way. It isn't a general feeling that is just poured over everyone. Like in our human way, we say, yes, I love people. What does that mean? It is just a subjective feeling that doesn't mean anything. When God loves humankind, he loves every single person by name because he knows everyone. He is the greatest knower. No, there is not such word. somebody who knows us. And because of this, He loves us. Every single human being. So when you look at Him, when you come to this church, when you go through your life, through your activities, through your family life, through your relationships, try to feel that love. And try to appreciate yourself for it. Because when God looks at every one of you, He sees something special that makes Him love you. Every single one of us has this special something that makes us being loved by God. That is really the foundation of our relationship with God, accepting this love. Just like the love between a man and a woman, and accepting the other person's love becomes a foundation of a lifelong relationship between a husband and a wife. In today's gospel, there is a lot of other things, and I especially this culture in the 21st century should really read these words today and really try to identify, because Christ here gives us, through Moses, it incorporates all the New Testament. He explains us what is marriage. And there is a lot of misunderstandings in today's culture what marriage is. Whether it is a union between two people who love each other, whatever that means. But Christ goes and He really, actually Jesus says that. Have you not read, at the beginning created made them male and female, and declared, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and the two shall become as one. No other thing is necessary for any Catholic or Christian or anybody who believes in God to understand and know that a marriage is a union between a male and a female. And nothing else. But even inside that, because there are other questions, and the Pharisees, they bring this up. They say, okay, that is clear. Well, now let's go on. And there are a lot of other questions. If you go to university, if you go to a library and you pick up some books on marital moral theology, there will be shelves full of books that really try to elaborate all the little details about the moral questions of life together, of a male and a female in a family. There's a lot, and we cannot explain them all right here in these 5 or 10 minutes that I'm here. I invite you to do that if you are interested in this. It is explained. And then we learn that any sexual activity outside of marriage is a sin. It doesn't matter if it is homosexual or heterosexual. Any sexual activity outside of marriage is a sin. So if it is a male and female, or it is a male and male, or it is a female and female, it's a sin if it's outside marriage. And since cannot be a marriage between a female and female or a male and male, any homosexual activity is a sin. Not being a homosexual, but homosexual activity. Inasmuch it is not a sin to be heterosexual, but any heterosexual activity outside of marriage is as much sin as a homosexual activity. We can go on and on explaining, these particular moral questions. But this is not the place for us to do so. For us today, and this is my final sermon here in this parish, because I'm leaving tomorrow for New Jersey and then back to Ukraine, and I shall be in Ukraine on Thursday, if everything goes well. Have to say that because sometimes these things don't go well. I might be late, or I might be early, or I might skip Ukraine and go straight to heaven. That could happen too. I wouldn't be worried about that, that's actually a better destination than Ukraine anyway. What I want to say is that destination, it is in Ukraine for me, because this is where my wife is and where my 3 kids are. This is heaven for me. But I must say also that I found heaven here. I found it in it's very little. It was only Sunday mornings, but in the relationship I was living, in a spiritual relationship, I was living with you. That is heaven as well, because there is love in it. In the daily liturgies that we celebrated, when I went out to some of your homes and for dinners or for, hanging out, as Americans say, that is heaven as well. There are little pieces of heaven that are everywhere.